just did that, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so if I could do that, I can do this thing or the other thing. And, you know, I can deal with these like difficult things in life, or because you're holding space for yourself. So it's teaching you how to do that in ceremony and outside of ceremony.
It's a lot like people who jump into the cold plunges. And trying to clear out, you know, toxins, bacteria, mold, fungus, living in buildings that have water damage. All of those things. The physical part, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to clear that out with the supplements, it just doesn't really do it. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's because all of the pathogens, they're occupying your body for a reason. Mm-hmm. There's always a physical reason, and there's a spiritual or an emotional reason. Mm-hmm. And if we just try to clear out the physical thing without trying to work on the emotional reason, for example, maybe you have issues with boundaries and your family members, and you couldn't say no to them, and so you develop H. pylori, which is like the bacteria in your stomach lining that keeps you from fully digesting your food, which also prevents you from keeping all the other parasites and stuff at bay in your gut. But that border, that boundary between you and somebody else that was kind of falling apart brought in the idea of microbes.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. I'm here to share with you the beautiful transmissions from the walls of my cavernous heart, and to witness the great frequency shift that we are moving into as a collective, and the beautiful deep work that we are doing as we glide into the age of Aquarius. This is the Liminal Frequencies podcast. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. How is the water? How is the air? How are we moving into these Aquarius energies, which feel like a choose your own adventure of the mind? We have the ability to travel with our mind, to astrally project, to go down dark rabbit holes, or to do some really deep and beautiful rewiring, which has been really incredible to see the potential of that with all of the shifts into Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius. And I think with the Sun and Pluto conjunct right now, we're able to see into our shadow and the shadow period that we're working with right now. And oh, the shadow is so much prettier when we can really just drop in and see it, isn't it? So I'm really excited to be offering a collective coaching for spiritual entrepreneurs every month. The next one will be on February 11th. And every month we choose a theme for which we can discuss, and we go through and allow people to engage in this. I don't want to say networking because it's play, this exploration of what we're moving through as a collective and individually. And then I have a group activation to help those energies sink in. So please click the link in the show to join me. And today I'm really excited now that we have all of the energy moving. It's very cerebral. We can really ground it in this medicine practice. And my guest today is Shanna KamboSera, and she is a Kambo practitioner with a background in clinical and folk herbalism. She was introduced to Kambo during a tumultuous period of her life, and Kambo was able to really support her nervous system and has taught her some beautiful lessons as her work has deepened with this medicine. Shanna cultivates a warm and understanding container with a focus on safe, knowledgeable, and intuitive care. And she serves clients from the Olympic Peninsula down to the west side of Puget Sound, and has done so for the last 4 years. And I had the pleasure of sitting in ceremony with her, and she held such incredible space. And she's just a doula for the rebirthing of ourselves that we've been doing. So if you are rebirthing yourself, this is a good episode for you, and feel into some of that resilience that we are cultivating through all of our practices. So for today, I pulled the card Fortitude from a beautiful guidebook, The Earth Oracle, Sacred Earth Oracle, by Tony Salerno and Layla Williams. The mountain watches the comings and goings of time. Snow or fire may ravage its surface, but its center is unchanged. Ice drifts into streams that reach the oceans. Ash sinks into soil and rekindles growth. You are a mountain. The comings and goings of life might rage on the surface, but your center is strong, watchful, and enduring. Harsh words, criticisms, and doubts are like pebbles. They might be flung your way, and you may notice them, but they cannot touch your core. The mountain is anchored deep in the earth and rises beyond the clouds. Feel the sure footings of your foundation. Connect to your center that cannot be rocked. Rise to your lofty heights, and you can see forever. And tapping into, I believe medicine should be about us tapping into our vital life force energy, our resilience, our strength. So without further ado, I will be reading a little medical disclaimer for the 3D matrix that we exist in out there. And then grab your Palo Santo, grab your chicapa with a rattle. If you have a stuffed animal llama, just cuddle up and enjoy the show. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. The content shared in this episode is not designed to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or any other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Despite what you hear on the show, please engage in your own research. Thank you so much, Shanna, for joining us on the Liminal Frequencies podcast. I'm so excited to have you join us.
Thank you, Jill. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, of course. So you have a very exciting career path, and I wanted to hear more about how you began your journey as a Kambo practitioner.
Yeah, so Kambo and I have been through quite a journey together. I in my 20s, I went through, I would say my mid-20s, I went through a dark night of the soul experience, and that brought me to plant medicine. And then in my plant medicine experiences and circles and the people that I was meeting through that space, I got connected with Kambo. And I had gone to a sound healing one day and with some of my medicine friends. And there was a Kambo practitioner there. And so afterwards, I approached her and we started chatting. And I was like, I really feel like I'm called to doing Kambo with you. And so we did that. And I kind of went from there.
Yeah. So let's break it down a little bit for people that don't know about it.
Yeah. Okay. So Kambo is the secretion from a giant monkey frog in the Amazon rainforest. Philomedusa bicolor is the Latin name. And this secretion is placed on open burns in the skin, which enters your lymphatic system.
And it's through like incense, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's you can use a non-scented incense stick, or they have this tamishi vine in the jungle that they use, which is a bit of a bigger burn. So that's used as well. Yeah, those are really intense. I have a couple of those, and the scars kind of stay forever.
Wow.
But, and then, so the secretion, folks in the Amazon have been using this medicine for a really long time, for centuries, but only 7 tribes work with this medicine out of hundreds in the jungle. And it's a cleanse, it's a purge, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It just kind of works on all the bodies of a person.
Yeah. Wow. So I do want to hear, if you're willing to share a little bit more about your personal kind of journey with the medicine and how you felt you needed it, or what you received from it that first time.
Yes. Okay. So I ended up doing 3 sessions in 3 days.
Wow.
For my first, and I'm really glad I did that. I was a bit scared and hesitant, and like a week before my 3 sessions, I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, I was convinced. I was like, I guess I'm doing this, but I'm probably going to die. But there was something in me that was calling me to work with this medicine and just trust.
Yeah.
And at this time of my life, I was going through the most tumultuous experience ever, which was I was going through a divorce, dealing with all of that emotion, all of that, all the things that come along with that, as you can imagine. I had just moved into my own place. I hadn't lived on my own for a really long time. I had a lot of anxiety at this time, a lot of fear, a lot of worry, and I ended up doing the 3 sessions in the 3 days, and Kambo basically told me that I was spinning my wheels. I didn't need to do this, that, and the other thing. It was okay for me to just rest and to take time and to have compassion for myself. And the way that happened was the first day I did my session and I went home and I literally fell asleep. I crashed so hard I slept the entire day. That happened every day that I did Kambo that weekend. And
there's only so many hours that for people that, don't necessarily understand, it's like totally fasted.
Yes.
So, which you want to be fasted, right? Because when people think of puking, I think the thing is like they think about times that they've puked and that they haven't been fasted.
Yeah.
And it just makes a huge difference. But I remember I actually did 3 in a row. And I was also like, okay, well, I don't know what this is going to be like. So it's perfect for me to commit to it and just go for it and like not have to worry about scheduling more time out. And because they say 3 times in 1 month is a moon balance.
Yeah, it's a 3 times in a full moon cycle.
Yeah.
Is the
to balance the hormones. And so that's what I was interested in. And you do definitely have a very short window where you want to eat.
Yes.
And you feel like you can eat and to help you to get through to the next time so you're ready to receive the medicine again.
Yeah, totally. Yes. And that's very important. It's really, really important to eat after Kambo. Just to replenish your body because your body just went through like a mini ordeal.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm. So every day, I was just like exhausted. It crashed, and there was a lot of messages that came through for me, and the big one was, you need to stop spinning your wheels. Like, you're going through a lot right now. It's okay to rest and allow yourself rest, and that's something that I didn't ever really do before, actually.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so, what was your career before you became a Kambo practitioner?
Yeah, so actually, I've done quite a few things, but at the time, I was actually working in a real estate office. So I did that for a few years, and then yes, I was working with plant medicine during that time. Was working with Kambo after that 3, and my first time with the 3, I started working with Kambo after that as well, just like taking it myself from somebody else. And then I did my training in 2020.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was a few years later after my first Kambo was 2018.
And so for 2020, it's such an interesting time. Was it like the beginning of 2020 or later?
Great question. Because 2020 was crazy for everybody.
Like a big path change and also a big paradigm shift. Huge. I feel that was like, wow, what have I been doing? What have I not been seeing? And now, like, how can I integrate all of this? And for me, it was an opening for plant medicine, for sound healing, for all of the unseen things that we love to talk about on this podcast.
Yes. Yeah. So in 2020, as many of us, if not all of us, I think we all went, I need to look at my life. Like, what am I doing? And we had the space to do that. Maybe not so much mental space, but we had the time because we weren't all going to work as much and all of these things. So Kambo just kept calling to me, and I felt just very connected to that medicine. And I had the year before, I had gone to the jungle and worked with Kambo in the jungle.
Wow.
And that was very powerful as well.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. So that was in 2019. And that was actually my second time going to the jungle, but it was my first time working with medicine in the jungle. And I went to a center where we were working with plant medicine, and Kambo was a part of the regimen. And so on one of my last days, we did Kambo, and I actually felt like really ready to do Kambo. And my purge, usually purges go, like the ceremony itself is about 20 minutes that you Kambo on your open burns.
Yeah.
I went for a full 40. That's like the max you can go safely.
Yeah.
But I was just, the whole time, I was just like ready to release, ready to let go. I was just letting go of so much stuff. So
the maximum time that you can have a dot, because you put the dot on and it stays for about 20 minutes, right?
Yes,
and then you can flip the dot or you can remove the dot depending on if you feel like you actually have released something and you're ready to kind of rest, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So most people actually just go the 20 minutes with the Kambo dots or the Kambo secretion on your open wounds. But you can go up to 40 because some people do need more if they feel that that's what their body is calling for.
Yeah.
So that's a choice to go over 20 minutes if people choose. Yeah, that was very powerful, especially in the jungle. It's quite a different experience.
Wow. And you said, because I've sat with you for Kambo, that often in the jungle, because before, actually, one of the most uncomfortable parts is just drinking all the water.
Oh, it is.
There's a lot of water to be drinking to help you to clear it from your system. Yeah. And that's before they put the dot on you. And you said that in the jungle, they often use like a banana or a chicha.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so that time I sat in the jungle, that was with Yawanawa medicine, and so that medicine, that was just done with water, because they only take water. But then I went to the jungle again in 2022 to hang out with the Matsés tribe on the Peru side. Some Matsés live in Brazil.
Oh, okay.
But I was on the Peru side.
And those are the caretakers of the medicine, right?
Yes. Yeah. So out of the 7 tribes, they're like the main one that most people know about.
Yeah.
That work with Kambo.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because they actually just work with Kambo. They don't also work with ayahuasca like the other tribes do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they don't have a tradition of ayahuasca, just Kambo. And so anyway, I went to a village to be with the Matsés and learn from them and just kind of understand how they work with Kambo. And but they do the banana juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can do water as well. Water is very normal to do that, but the banana juice is, you're drinking less, and it helps when the bile comes up, which is very bitter. It helps kind of tamper that a little bit because it's so sweet. So it's a balance.
Okay.
So the purge is definitely more pleasant.
Yeah.
Banana. But some people don't like it. Some people don't like it because it's thicker, and that can turn people off.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. When you're like, I'm just getting ready to purge, and I don't know if I want to drink that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I prefer the banana, but I would say most people I've served actually prefer the water.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to say. The water is a little bit like you have this water nausea from drinking so much water.
Yes. Yeah. So the key with the water, and something that I'm very careful about, safety is the most important thing for me when I serve medicine. But with the water, I basically, like, you're drinking 2 liters of water, and then I'll put the Kambo on you, and then while you're with Kambo, like you're in your session, then you can drink up to 1 more liter. Some traditions will have you drink a gallon of water. And I think, personally, I don't find that to be safe. I wouldn't serve that much. So but
I don't think your body can actually process that, or your kidneys can actually process that much water.
Yeah. Because then hyponatremia is a real thing.
Yeah.
And that's the most dangerous part of Kambo, actually. Yeah. So if we keep it under 3 liters, then it is safe. But more than that feels a little, I feel a little uncomfortable with that personally.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had this whole journey. You went to Brazil.
I went to Peru.
You went to Peru first.
Yeah.
And then you did this training to become a Kambo practitioner. Yeah.
Yeah. So the training, was in 2020. It was actually with Combo International, and they have trainings in Washington. So I just went to go train with them during 2020, and then in 2022 is when I went to hang out with the Matsas tribe and learn from them. So it's just like a deepening. It was like an advanced training, because then it's like, okay, this is how they work with Combo. This is how important Combo is to them. Their relationship with Combo is like inextricably linked. It's like such an important part of their life. It has been for a long time.
Yeah. And do you have any stories like how do people start connecting with the frog, and what is it like to be in the community?
Yeah. Well, it was amazing. I had a wonderful time. It was very profoundly moving for me. So early in the morning is when you catch the frogs to get some secretion from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the frogs aren't harmed. They're not being killed or anything of that nature. They're just taking a very small top layer of the secretion from their backs and their legs and their arms. And then they release them back into the jungle. But what happens is the frogs come out to mate around 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So you hear them barking. They don't really croak, they bark. They're so cute. But they're barking, and these are their mating calls. So during their mating time is when they're easier to catch.
Wow.
Because they're like lower in the trees, and you can kind of spot them with a flashlight. Like their eyes will glow. But the most beautiful part of that, before we got up to go find frogs early, 3 in the morning, one of the Matsas elders, he kind of like comes out before everybody else, and he starts singing songs to the Combo frogs, and then they start barking. So that was really profoundly beautiful to me, because they were actually pretty quiet. Then he started singing, then they responded to him, and then we got up and went out to go find them.
And for context, a lot of especially in Peru, I believe, there's a lot of dieting of plants.
Yeah.
Where you ingest a certain plant, you have a very limited diet and a limited amount of outside world contact, and, obviously no cell phones, no reading, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And people are able to hear the plant, or in this case, Kambo is an animal medicine. Yeah. But it's singing through them. So they're singing the plants, and then they have the plants within their own physiology as like a tool that they can use in medicine, or if they're sitting with somebody and they need help from this specific plant, they can sing to them. Yeah. So that's interesting to think about that in terms of the tribe and their relationship. They've always been singing to the frogs.
Yes. Totally, yeah. And I would say that's a very interesting observation. I hadn't really thought of it in the context of like a plant dieta that is very common in the jungle. And whereas they're not doing dietas in the Matsas tribe. That's not something that's part of their culture, because they don't drink ayahuasca. But they do have this knowledge of connecting with the Kambo frogs, this like animal medicine.
Wow. Yeah. I love it. I've seen, and I've told people about this medicine before, and it's I want to say it's like kind of a hard sell. It's like, why would I want to get sick like that? I'm sure people come to you with different stories and interesting stories on what it is that draws them towards the medicine. But for me, what I experienced from the medicine was very much the resilience training. I felt like I could pretty much do anything after that. Yeah. And the contrast with real life, because I got sick during the pandemic, and I did have some nausea, and I was like, I want to throw up. And it wasn't pleasant. With Kambo, it's a little bit more like, okay, I'm releasing it all. Yeah. And it was just very much like there was no ending, like with Kambo.
Right.
And so it's like there's this whole aspect of being in a place where somebody is in community, or some person is holding a ceremony for you. That's really beautiful, where when we go throughout really hard things in our life, often we don't have a context of, there's a candle lit for me, and I'm going through a thing, and it's happening, and somebody's holding space for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about serving combo is like holding space for somebody to just let go.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done. I think we all have a hard time letting go of various things, but in this, it's like a container of trust that is established, and then that allows whoever is working with combo to just be in their process and not have to worry about external things. Like, I'm taking care of that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and knowing when to drink a little more water, or when to flip the point. You're just there, kind of like a midwife.
Yeah, definitely. I see myself as primarily a space holder and a connector of people with the combo medicine. So I'm just like facilitating that meeting.
Yeah.
And then whoever is working with combo, you're healing yourself. Like, you're choosing to heal, right? You're saying, I want to do this. I know I need this. My higher self is calling me to this. So I'm going to go through this ordeal. And of course, combo is healing as well, right? But you're also choosing your healing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm there to hold that, hold space for that to happen.
And knowing you already kind of stepped on that path, I really like the idea that it's not about what we need to do to heal. It's about when we decide it's time, and people show up with you. It's like, okay, I'm here. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to hold space for this, and I'm giving my body that window of the ability to work with the medicine and let it give me the messages that I need.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I love holding that space for people, because the transformations and the understandings and realizations that people have after a combo session is always the most beautiful part to me.
Yeah.
What people take away from that experience, even though it's very difficult, can be very difficult. Maybe a little unpleasant, but it's always
and so is so much else that we deal with.
Yes.
I have a friend that she's British. This just sounds awful. Like, I can't imagine doing that. But yeah, and she told me that she did the olive oil cleanse for her gallbladder.
Oh, wow.
At one point, and I just was like, that sounds worse.
Yeah.
Drinking all that olive oil and like just purging it out of your body and purging all of those stones.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
But everybody has it. It's funny, I'm in a circus class here in Port Hedlock, and we were talking about the silks versus the hoops that people, the lyra that people, it just digs into your hips. It's just so painful. And the silks are, I believe they're more painful, but this time it's a fabric, and the fabric is just pinching your circulation in different places. And it's really funny, as somebody was saying, like, I don't like that. That's really painful. And I'm like, you do stuff with the hula hoops, like,
right.
That's really painful. And it, but you have your own way that you want to be tormented, like everybody has.
That's right. Yeah, you have to pick your pain, I guess. Yeah. What kind of pain do you want? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point, actually, because it reminds me of like a deeper truth, which is we're in this life and pain is happening, right? Like, maybe not every moment of your life, but like we're always, or often I should say, dealing with painful things, you know? And yeah, that's like a huge part of what being on Earth is. And so when we come to combo, it's like quite an ordeal. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world, but you can do it. You can get through it, And like you were saying, it built resilience in you, or it just made you feel a lot more resilient. And that's so true. After combo, you're like, oh, I can do that. I just did that, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so if I could do that, I can do this thing or the other thing, and I can deal with these like difficult things in life, or because you're holding space for yourself. So it's teaching you how to do that in ceremony and outside of ceremony.
It's a lot like people who jump into the cold plunges.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do it, and you kind of have. I did it the other day, and I was like, okay, I know this is gonna be great, And I walk up, and it's kind of windy, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like getting in the water, and it's taking for a while for me to get to the point where I can like fully submerge myself in the bay. And once I do, I mean, I'm just kind of paddling around, flailing around, just trying to like move my body through the water, just trying to immerse myself in it. And then the light bulb turns on, and I'm like, I'm awake.
Yes.
I'm here and like nothing else. I didn't feel cold. Like you don't feel cold afterwards. And I think people just feel these practices of resilience bring them so much gratitude
Yes.
that they are like, I'm here. If I could do this, I could do a lot of other stuff that is harder.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, even if you don't do a ceremony like Kambo, just to hold space for yourself in whatever ceremony that you're going through right now, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You can do the hard thing. And actually, I think there's a point that happens if you're like cold plunging, for example, or whatever your modality is that maybe is kind of painful. The more you do it, the more you're like, oh, like you adapt and you're able to handle it.
Yeah.
Because you know what you need to do to be able to hold that space for yourself through that hard stuff. So really then at some point, it may always be painful to you in some way, but it can also be enjoyable.
Yeah. So has Kambo gotten easier and more enjoyable? Is that where we're going?
I don't think I'd say that Kambo is ever enjoyable. Although I will say one of my favorite ways to do Kambo is doing the ear points.
Yeah.
Have you ever done ear points?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember if
they're like a little smaller, so they're a little less potent than the body points, I guess, right?
Well, so they're actually not smaller. The skin on your ears is just thinner, so you don't really need to burn for as long. It's like totally so quick to do that. But the size is the same. It's just that your ears it kind of creates like more heat in your head and everything's kind of elevated when Kambo's on your ears versus on your body. If Kambo's on your arm or anywhere below, you feel it throughout your body a lot more. Wow. So that's the difference. So the ears can feel a little more elevated, a little less like flu-like symptoms in the body.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's probably the most pleasant way to do Kambo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because of the feeling of warmth in your head?
More because you're not feeling so ill in your body.
Oh, so you would use only an ear point or something if you were doing a smaller cleanse?
It really depends on what you want from Kambo, right? So sometimes people have tinnitus, for example. That's actually quite common.
Wow.
So ear points would be really good for tinnitus because it's connected, right? But and usually if people do like 3 in a cycle, the third day I do ear points for people. So the first 2 we'll do points on the body, whatever they're dealing with, ailments, whatever's going on, we'll put points there. And then the third day I'll do ears because it's a little bit lighter and it's still difficult in certain ways, but it's just a totally different experience with Kambo. So it really depends, on why people hate ears, but that is part of it.
And I'm just thinking from the Chinese medicine lens that maybe the points in the ears would help you clear some heat if you had tinnitus to help you move through it.
I love that. I haven't even thought of that, but that's a really interesting theory. And yeah, there might be something to that actually.
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing.
Is there anything else that people have come to you with and they were, had good results or anything specific?
Yes. So I would say a good sect of people come to Kambo just to overcome some challenge in life, to increase their courage, their inner strength, the resilience that we were talking about. But actually, the other side, about 50% of people will come to Kambo for health issues of all kinds. And I don't want to say Kambo is a heal-all, but there are a lot of health issues that Kambo does help with. So I have a friend who I've served Kambo to many times, and she'll do 3 in a cycle, and she has Lyme. She's had Lyme for a very long time, and she's done all the things to try to help her body with this disease, but she did Kambo, and after 3, her symptoms were mitigated for 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So she still has Lyme. It didn't cure the Lyme. It didn't take it out of her body.
Yeah.
But it allowed her body to feel more baseline.
Yeah.
More normal for 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So that to me, these sort of stories from my clients is very powerful. It feels very profound. This is possible for people.
The thing that speaks to me about it, I believe, and for me, I had taken all the supplements and trying to clear out, toxins, bacteria, mold, fungus living in buildings that had water damage. All of those things. The physical part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to clear that out with the supplements, it just doesn't really do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's because all of the pathogens, they're occupying your body for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a physical reason, and there's a spiritual or an emotional reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just try to clear out the physical thing without trying to work on the emotional reason, for example, maybe you have issues with boundaries and your family members and you couldn't say no to them, and so you develop H. pylori, which is like the bacteria in your stomach lining that keeps you from fully digesting your food, which also prevents you from keeping all the other parasites and stuff at bay in your gut. But that border, that boundary between you and somebody else that was kind of falling apart brought in the idea of microbes.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you just physically try to remove them without taking away the emotional part, and with Kambo, there's just this surrendering and releasing and this whole process of like, let's just let this go.
Yeah.
and communing and connecting with the traditions and the medicine and the songs of the region. Yeah, for me, I believe that was a huge part of it. And also from a biomedical perspective, I believe there's a lot of peptides that are released after Kambo, and so people just feel really great afterwards. And
thanks for sharing that. Definitely, it's all connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
The physical, the spiritual, emotional, and to deal with one, we need to deal with the other for it to actually truly heal, right? Or to be able to move through that.
And in that moment, we lost our train of thought and erupted into laughter. What a beautiful part one for our session with Shanna. And I'm really excited to share with you the next half of the episode. I have this book I borrowed from a friend, Psychedelics and the Soul by Simon Ugler. And he relates psychedelics to horses, Pegasus. Horses are these really strong, powerful animals. They're sensitive, and you can really feel when something shifts and when something isn't in balance. So it's this delicate dance of working with a medicine, and it does remind me of how people work with Kambo, how they work with the clients in just feeling and perceiving when that horse starts running too fast, when the horse slows, and when the horse really wants to lie down. I found it interesting that he said the medicine of Pegasus is also about empowerment. I've seen countless people emerge from psychedelic sessions with some new clarity about a particular facet of their life, usually a relationship that needs to end. Sometimes this takes the shape of admitting the toxicity of their situation or the ways in which they feel unmet or hurt. Anger and rage are fitting emotions here. Often integration for trauma survivors involves taking decisive, even ruthless action in the name of their healing. And how fitting for a journey, whether it's psychedelic or with something like Kambo that's kind of sub-psychedelic, it allows you to move through some of the things in your life that have been stuck. And I've noticed for many people coming out of Kambo, like, I organized my house. I started all these projects that I had been delaying in that process because something in me became unstuck, and now I'm ready to move through it. I hope this resonates with you, that life is a ceremony, and whether or not we acknowledge the fact that we have the ceremony going on by burning sage and lighting candles and creating an ambiance around it, it is still happening. So any moment that we can drop in and call in the elements and enjoy the sounds of nature and allow that to inform our steps forward is a time that we can really hold space for yourself. So holding space for you and whatever you're going through today, this week, this month, whatever transformation that you're enduring, you are more powerful than you realize. Bye for now.